is the question regarding your interesting case. So, Abdul Rafi, since you interviewed last year, did they ask you about an interesting case?
Not particularly, not that I can recall in terms of having interest case. Mostly it's a dilemma or conflict, but I can't recall at that question being asked.
Okay. Where did you interview at last time around? What specialties?
Uh, I interviewed a few places in anesthesia and few places in medicine.
Okay, so maybe it's more of a question generally because many of us already have experiences, just like Noor mentioned that she has had experience, 3 years of experience. And they do know that people do fudge their CVs and make things up. And the prime reason they ask this question is, and there are different ways they ask this question. They may pose a question. They may give you a scenario and they will ask, okay, now what are you going to do? Right? Or they will say, give me an interesting case. And the only reason they're asking this is to make sure that you know how to present a case. And if you know how to present a case, that means that your clinical experience is valid. So you have to start off with, there was a 49-year-old patient, female patient from a rural area. Their past medical history of this, coming with a chief complaint of this, lasting for these years. Lasting this chief complaint lasting for these many months, with the pertinent review systems of this, pertinent vitals and physical exam findings included this, lab work demonstrated this, imaging showed this, and we were suspecting this. My role in this case was to take a history of the patient, and I was presenting it to my senior resident. And we were initially considering this aspect of care. However, later on we found out that this was that we missed this part of the history. And circling back with the patient, we ordered an ultrasound for the lower extremity, whatever. And we had a differential of this, but it was fairly obvious that this was the reason for the presentation. We initiated treatment, and the patient improved in about 2 days' time. And this was why it was interesting, because of this aspect. So you need to be able to present a case. That is the main reason they're asking. That is the main reason that they're asking this question. And anyone who has been in clinical medicine, you know that that's what happens every single day in the morning. You are presenting a case, right? Right? How many people are out of med school? And mostly, I think all of you are probably out of med school, and you have experience in presenting cases. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so have you anybody prepared an interesting case?
Yeah, for me, I haven't prepared any interesting case. I was wondering if we'll have the whole time leisure to present a full scale of case just the way you mentioned it now, starting from the name, the age, past medical history, past surgical history, labs, vitals, and imagings, if we have that kind of time during interview.
Yeah, so it's only the pertinent findings. It's only the pertinent findings. And it's the same situation when you're it's only the pertinent findings, the pertinent review system, the pertinent physical exam findings. So that should be very, very quick. And especially with clinical experience, they expect people to be able to present a case. Let me see. Excuse me.
Dr. Khan, would you suggest just explaining why the case was interesting while answering this question, or do you want, sorry about that, do you suggest going on about the whole history of the patient in order to showcase our presentation skills?
I think you will have to describe, you will have to give context. And that only happens if you have presented a case. It only happens. And it has to read like a story. You don't want to give the answer up front. It has to be a story, right? So you have to build up to it. So you're building it up. You're providing clues. You're providing clues. So when you are talking about the person is coming in with shortness of breath, right? And you start to talk about past medical history. Or with the patient is coming in with shortness of breath, with a past medical history of Alzheimer's disease, lupus, and lupus and arthritis. Okay, so they will say, okay, shortness of breath, Alzheimer's disease. Okay, the patient can aspirate. Lupus can have multiple pulmonary symptoms, or lupus can cause loads of issues. So you are going through describing pertinent findings and going through in a stepwise manner that will build the case that you're talking about. And yeah, so it has to. I firmly believe you don't want to go into every single detail, all the lab that is not important, only the pertinent labs, only the pertinent imaging findings. You don't want to read the whole MRI report.
Okay.
What you found in the MRI, right?
Yeah.
Excuse me. Omer has the hand up. Yes, Omer. Hello. Omer, are you there? You just have to unmute yourself. Hello, Omer. You just have to unmute yourself. I think you're good now. Yes. I think you're having some issue with your audio. Hello. All right, that's okay. When you can fix your audio, then we can talk to you. All right, so yeah, let me go over. I'm going to share. I wanted to share. Okay, let me just present a case of an interesting case to you. Okay, so hopefully it just goes smoothly. Yeah, I do remember a case when I was in my final year of my medical school, and I was responsible as part of my team to take the initial interview, and I would present to my team. And this was a 47-year-old male, and he was coming in with abdominal pain, right upper quadrant abdominal pain, no significant mass medical history other than GERD. And he came in complaining of abdominal pain, mild jaundice. Pertinent findings included pertinent findings included right upper quadrant abdominal pain with no significant radiation. Review systems. He had mild nauseousness without any without any vomiting. Pertinent lab findings noted transaminitis with a predominance of ALT. Alk phos was mildly elevated. Bilirubin was around 5. Vitals were stable. No fever. We were initially concerned, given that the hepatitis was pretty common, especially hepatitis A in our area, that this could be a presentation of hepatitis. However, we are still not sure about that because the patient did not have any fever. Yet we explored further. The next day around, I asked him more about a history, and he mentioned that the family ate out recently. And I do admit my mistake that I did not really take a history about his dietary habits. With hepatitis, that should be something I should have done on my earlier assessment of the patient. And he mentioned that they ate at a restaurant and he had uncooked seafood. From that, after that answer was revealed, we obtained a parasitic panel, and we found liver fluke to be positive, and we started him on anti-parasitic medication, and he recovered within a week's time, and the liver enzymes went back to normal, and he went home in about 4 or 5 days. So this was an interesting case, and as well as the learning experience for myself. That don't overlook everything, and sometimes you also have to go back and ask further questions if you're not getting a handle of a case. So okay, this is, as I just said, off the top of my off the top. So, but you have to just be very quick. This was very quick. I think within a minute. You don't want your answers to be more than 90 seconds. So a minute is a good enough time for you to talk about a case or anything. So it has to be it has to go through a sequence. Why it was interesting, any learning aspect in the middle, I think that should be very important. All right. Agreed, Abdul Rafi, since you've already had this experience. So,
Absolutely, yes, sir. Absolutely.
okay. All right. So any questions for today? All right. Tasham has his hands up. I think it's at Tasham, right? And somebody iPhone has their hands up. I'm not sure if that's correct. Okay, let me see. You need to unmute yourself, I think. I think you need to unmute yourself. No. Okay, anyways. All right, so I think we will have weekly sessions. We look to have weekly sessions, all right? And I want all of you guys to go over the course. Let me just share the screen again.
So, Dr. Khan, my hands were up. I don't know why it was showing on Dr.
Yeah,
Slap.
I was confused. My bad. Yes,
Yeah.
Stefan.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you, in terms of the timing for tell me about yourself, what do you think is the most appropriate time to spend on that conversation?
Yeah, that's it. 1 minute to 90-second max.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why it's important to prepare for your answer. And if you look at my template answers, let me just actually share my screen. Where is this? Hopefully I have the right screen. Yeah. So these are not long. Let me do family matters. Yeah, these are not long. But definitely the more personal thing you plug in, that will help out. Then they're not long answers, and that's enough. You don't really want to bore them. A lot of people may end up repeating the same thing over and over again. You don't really want to bore them. The specific important aspects about yourself that you can really consider your strengths and your experiences, I think that's it. And some people were mentioning photography, vacationing. Make sure you have aspects that show about yourself as well as your medical strengths. Doesn't have to be too long.
Thank you.
All right. Sounds good, everyone. Brita has her hands up.
Yeah, I do have a question, Dr. Khan.
Mhm.
So when we're answering the question about strengths, do you think we should have a story for every strength that we mention, or is it okay to just elaborate the strength without, giving a story for every point?
So with every point, you should have some.
Okay.
So in my sample answer, I do remember I had given your 3 strengths. I had a small example with each one of them. And let's say for internal medicine, yeah, I do remember I have example. Yeah, example, my ER rotation, I care for the patient who was emotionally distressed.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone has a 1 or 2 line example.
Okay.
Okay. Ideally, I don't want you to go so long. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, this is actually pretty good. I got so you have first, second, third, and you're summarizing your strengths. You don't necessarily need to summarize, but you could if you want. But
Okay.
every single thing has a small little example in there. Small little example. So this is adaptability, critical thinking, and teamwork, leadership, compassion, and time management, communication, organization, and empathy. And people say these are repetitive, but if you have an example, then it's not repetitive. It's personal to you. Okay. You
Yeah.
can't create something that's not there, right? And we all human, we have the same experiences, so we are going to be having similar strengths and weaknesses. You
Yeah.
don't want to give it a weakness. Oh, I can't walk.
Yeah.
So, or okay, I have ADD and I can't focus and I never will be able to focus in my life. So,
Yeah.
okay, then you're out. That's it. Okay,
For
interview
sure.
cut short. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that's for weaknesses, right? So, let me just show you the weaknesses template. Let's go to family medicine. So, emotional involvement, delegation, public speaking, handling, over committing, asking for help. These are common, but if you can personalize them, then it's fine. Okay, these are common. If you can personalize them, that it's fine. Yeah. So I would say next time I want people to be, at least go through the videos at least. All right. I think for a couple of sessions and one or two sessions with your interview, I think you guys should be good. But still, you need to prepare. Last couple of years during COVID, when we switched from in-person interviews to, let me share the little bit of example that I've had with people. That people, from when we went from physical interviews to in-person interviews, sorry, to virtual interviews, people were not ready. They were flunking their first few interviews, their first 3-4 interviews. They had no clue what was happening, and they lost out, because they were not prepared. Because when we used to go in person, we would have to prepare. We would have to spend money, air ticket, train, or Greyhound, and book hotel rooms and travel every single thing. So we would be prepared from day one. So, but when you are just saying, I'm gonna chat on the computer, yeah, you don't prepare for things, and then you lose out. So, good that you guys are taking this seriously, and many of you that actually did attend. So yeah, you're really serious about this. So yeah, you're on the right track. So yeah, let me know any questions I can address during the week, and we'll try to see when we can do it next week, probably next weekend.